Michael Caine is licensing his voice to this AI startup.
Little context on that, though. Michael Caine is 92 years old. So
are you saying that he's not going to be around to see all the detrimental effects?
More or less. I don't want to be brutal.
We're talking about Abba. They've been putting on a virtual show for years. Do you know any of this?
What is this?
You don't know any of this?
Tell me.
Abba
No.
has... They've played a...
You think I'm a massive ABBA fan because I'm European. That's...
Well, I mean, here's...
How do you not know who the Beatles are, but you know that ABBA have a virtual show?
All right. Welcome to the Actor's Guide to the End of the World podcast, where we talk about acting in Hollywood in a way people understand. I'm Kahn Song.
And I am Rían Kelly. As you well know.
As we all well know. Follow us wherever you find your podcasts. We're on video. We're on YouTube and Substack. We're on all social media at Actors Guide Podcast. If you're not following our TikTok, guys, some of our things are blowing up on TikTok. Brian Stepanik's story about Gene Wilder. Who knew? Major Gene Wilder fans on TikTok. Anyway, follow us wherever you get your social media at Actors Guide Podcast. On today's show, we talk about how Michael Caine just licensed his voice to an AI startup that Matthew McConaughey has backed. Meanwhile, also this week, Morgan Freeman has stated that he has lawyers suing people left and right for stealing his voice.
Do you know what just occurred to me? It's very funny that Matthew McConaughey and Michael Caine are probably two of the most imitated actors out there. And they're the ones lending their voices to AI.
See, that's smart. We talk about the massive decline in women filmmakers in 2025, as well as non-white filmmakers. Honest look at the current landscape, some silver linings, and some bright spots.
And we also talk about a lovely chat that was given at Leslie Kahn & Co. with the fantastic casting director, Patrick Rush.
And there you go. Enjoy the episode, everyone.
And now, a word from our sponsor.
Are you spending holidays with the family and dreading answering their horrible questions about your acting career?
Look, it's the big Hollywood actor. What are you working on right now? When are we going to see you in something? Marie's cousin is an elf down at the Christmas tree lot. Would you not look for a job like that?
Fear no more. Meet Swerve. With this app, you can sidestep any awkward questions with perfectly vague answers that will diffuse any situation.
Well, Quentin and I have been looking for a project to do together for quite some time.
Your family doesn't need to know that Quentin is your coworker at the Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf.
You know, I've been reading a lot of scripts lately. I'm really working on my work-life balance. Well, you know, NDAs.
Making holiday conversations a breeze, one relative at a time.
So what have you been doing for the last few months? Rehab. Well, I just want to give a shout out to this month's conversation. And for those of you who aren't aware, at Leslie Kahn Studios, every month they invite somebody in for a chat. And it's free to anybody who's in class. I think there's a fee if you're not in class. But basically it'll be, you know, this month it was a casting director, Patrick Rush, and what a chat. Last month it was David Nutter, TV director David Nutter. So like it's showrunners, it's casting directors, it's people in the industry, it's directors. Patrick Rush came in to talk to us, and it was so great to talk to a casting director and hear him speak about his experience with it. And he's been casting a long time. He cast the OC and a bunch of different things. He's got a really great resume, but his approach to casting and how much he loves actors was palpable. I mean, it was really just, it was so comforting to hear that from a casting director, you know, and how what he looks for in actors and how he approaches his job. And it was just a brilliant talk. And the more of these things I go to, the more I appreciate just hearing someone else's experience and getting that perspective, because you don't get to see that very often. You don't get access to it in that way.
And we're also doing a lot of self-tapes. We don't see casting directors in person these days, so that you're completely right.
Exactly. So, and he was thrilled to be in a room full of actors. Like, he really enjoyed it. But one of the things that stood out to me was someone asked, how important is the social media following to you? And he's like, I don't care. He's like, I don't care how many followers you have. You know, if you're great and you're right for the part and you have a ton of followers, you know, all the better. But it's not a consideration for him. But I loved it. And I just, you know, for anybody who's in Los Angeles, these, and particularly at Leslie Kahn, if you're listening to this and you take classes at Leslie Kahn, you should absolutely go to these things because they are so cool. And Leslie gets all these wonderful people in, and it's phenomenal. So,
and it's
anyway, I just want to give a shout out to the studio for that.
And it's free for students, so that's an incredible opportunity.
Yeah, and it's a chance to talk to these people and meet them, and it's every one that I've been to has been phenomenal. It's just been really enjoyable and insightful and inspiring, I think, as well, because when you hear the way people talk about their jobs, you're like, yeah, we're all doing this together. It's a real, it's given me a greater sense of the community at large and how everybody faces the same struggles. Everybody's pushing for the same thing, essentially, So yeah, big shout out to Leslie Kahn Studios and Leslie Kahn for bringing these people in, and I just wanted to say that.
No, that's amazing. Patrick Rush is awesome.
Hey, have you met him?
I have met him back in the day. He used to come in and kind of sit in on classes. He used to do a couple of our classes. Patrick Rush has been a friend of Leslie Kahn and also all of her actors for a while. So a lot of us have worked on his shows, and he's brought a lot of us in. So he's been an ally of Leslie Kahn's for a long time. So he's great. He's great.
Love it.
So let's start off with this. Michael Caine is licensing his voice to this AI startup. Matthew McConaughey also backed the AI audio company. He states innovation is not to replace humanity, but to celebrate it. Anyway, this is just kind of the landscape of people who are kind of a little proactive, a little more open to what technology is.
Little context on that, though. Michael Caine is 92 years old. So, I mean, the implications of that for him are not, I would say, far-reaching in terms of, he's doing it at this age, is what I'm saying.
Well, that's definitely part of the conversation, but I'm curious. So are you saying that he's not going to be around to see all the detrimental effects?
More or less. I don't want to be brutal about it.
No, it's just funny because I never actually... It's the first time anyone's actually brought up that point that, hey, I mean, come on. If you're ready, leave something behind. Is that kind of...
No, it's just interesting that, it's for a game, right?
If you're in a position of power and you have a lot of success, why not? And it kind of goes in line with last week we talked about how CAA clients, CAA has a vault of digital replicas that are, that the CAA is very much ahead of the game. They have all their I's dotted. And I kind of look at that as far as if you're established and say, most of them are actually older, then... Sure, license yourself and make that money, but I don't know beyond that.
I will say for him, it doesn't seem like he's doing it for money.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you the quote here. For years, I've lent my voice to stories that moved people, tales of courage, of wit, of the human spirit. This is in his statement. Now I'm helping others find theirs. With 11 labs, we can preserve and share voices, not just mine, but anyone's. It's a very aspirational kind of a statement. I don't know. I don't know if that is what it will be used for.
I agree, Rían. So I'm trying not to be completely skeptical here. It helps that Matthew McConaughey has invested an undisclosed sum in 11 labs after being impressed by the company. So there's credibility there. That being said, we know nothing about what this studio is going to be, what type of products that they're going to be, projects they're going to be producing. Have no idea what this could be. It's a very aspirational, articulate statement for what it is. It's basically licensing your voice. It's no different than CAA Vault. Just because Michael Caine is very articulate and writes a nice statement, I'm kind of waiting to see what this is. I mean, Matthew McConaughey, what is, are these bedtime stories? Are they going to be creating, narrating audiobooks for the rest of eternity? I don't really know. You know what I mean?
That's a valid point. That's what I don't understand about this stuff. And
yeah.
Because once you license it, I mean, what say do you have over how it's used?
We've been conditioned to be scared of this stuff. And, we'll wait and see. Matthew McConaughey is putting their name on this. Sir Michael Caine is. And by the way, this is a storefront for. This is the launch of 11 Labs Iconic Voices Marketplace, a storefront for celebrity voices that brands can pay to reproduce. These are brands. These are, more advertising deals. This includes deceased actors such as Judy Garland and historical figures such as J. Robert Oppenheimer. Just in time for the holidays, everyone. So this is kind of like my point where you can doll this up real nice, but I think it's fair. We are a little skeptical. Now, the flip side of this, also this week, Morgan Freeman, you can imagine how many people are trying to rip off his voice, slams unauthorized AI voice use, saying his lawyers are very busy. I'm like any other actor. Don't mimic me with falseness. It says it right here. I'm like any other actor. Don't mimic me with falseness. I don't appreciate it, and I get paid for doing stuff like that. So if you're going to do it without me, you're robbing me. If you pay him, if he's, signs a contract to be the voice of himself, he will happily do it. But, with this whole Morgan Freeman as a juxtaposition, I kind of don't blame Michael Caine. He's, 90-some years old. He's like, hey, I don't want to schlep to a voiceover booth. My voice. My voice is very iconic. And, hey, get me a decent cut, and I'll sign off on this. Here we are, and, actors do commercials all the time. It's like, I think it's kind of splitting hairs a bit. So I don't even know if I blame him. It's just we have no idea what they're going to pump out with possibly his voice.
Sorry, slightly off topic, or not off topic, but it's a bit of a tangent. I was talking to a friend of mine who's an actress, she's a brilliant actress, but she's now a therapist and has got her certification. Nice. And now she's practicing. But she was talking about AI and chat GPT and that and the instances of it causing psychosis in people, because people use it as a sort of a confidant, and they use it in lieu of somebody to talk to, as if it were a partner or a confidant or somebody, and share everything with it. But in people who are susceptible to it, it can trigger psychosis, which is terrifying. That's a common enough usage of it. You know what I mean? That people are sort of depending on it for that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I just want to make sure. So she's certified. She's been hearing those stories. I heard stories and reports of that, but has she's.
I don't know if she's dealt with somebody that has happened to.
Right.
I mean, she deals in the sort of mental health arena, but like, I don't know if I don't think, or I don't know if she's had direct experience with it, but it's obviously in her orbit because, this is a phenomenon that's happening. And again, like there are obviously helpful uses of AI. I mean, I'm sure there's tons of them that we're not even aware of, but the kind of at the sort of consumer level, the way people are using it now, people are depending on. I saw somebody try to rearrange a cabinet. They took a picture of the cabinet and then put it into ChatGPT and said, "What's the most aesthetically pleasing way to arrange these ornaments?" So like,
I don't doubt that for a second. I've seen that myself.
Yeah,
100%.
The more you give up your sort of autonomy and turn it over to this service, I think the more trouble we're in.
It's a slippery slope for sure. About that psychosis idea or concept that you brought up, I need to do more research. I have seen reports about that, and I knew that we would eventually talk about that. But the fact that AI chatbots are being used, especially by people with mental health concerns as well as young children, it's tricky. I mean, there's tons of reports. Children, high school kids, teenagers are their best friend is an AI chatbot. And you could say on many, many levels that can be a great thing because, hey, loneliness is real, and especially this day and age with kids in the digital age. That being said, if that AI chatbot goes haywire, you got some problems. So There's major things that they're uncovering with that, and like I said, I mean, no different than last week. Is we're trying to find regulations, we're trying to find a proper way to coexist like that, and possibly this Michael Caine licensing studio partnership that very well might be the next step. But that's that's a contract, that's legislated, that's not Morgan Freeman getting ripped off left and right.
Yeah, I agree. And, the obvious implications of confiding all your personal information into a service that actively collects and stores it.
Exactly.
And then uses it for whatever purpose.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Seems quite dangerous to me.
Yeah.
From a privacy standpoint,
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway, there's my anti-AI rant. my weekly
Actually, that's
anti-AI
not a bad
rant.
idea. We'll give you 5 minutes. We'll give you 5 minutes for Rían's anti-AI rant.
And I don't want to be a doomsday. I don't want to be banging the doomsday drum, running around the village, screaming that the sky is falling. But it's just the more I hear about this stuff, the more I'm like, what are we doing, guys? What are we doing?
I mean,
I will say,
go ahead.
with that in mind, I still have a very optimistic outlook on where I don't think actors are going to be replaced by AI. I know I've said that a number of times because I just don't think. I think they're fundamentally different. AI performance and actual performance, like a good performance, are worlds apart.
Yeah.
I think there's a total incongruity there where they can't exist in the same place.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Mm-hmm.
how that plays out remains to be seen. But I'm confident. I'm cocky, even, I would say.
Yeah. Anyway, this week's Rían's anti-AI rant brought to you by...
And luckily, nothing bad ever came from being overconfident. Yeah, you ever hear the common phrase, pride comes before a win? We're fine.
Yeah, famous last words. But no, seriously, though, we need to give you a proper segment. We'll come up with a name. I think every week you are averaging around 5-7 minutes. So, yeah, this is a good bit. Last bit, I am very curious, and it's actually going to come up a lot in this episode. We are seeing where the marketplace is, and this didn't get in our last episode. I don't know if this was 2 episodes ago, but when we talked about Abba, lovely Abba. I know
Abba didn't make it in?
Yeah, exactly. When we talked about our big Abba Beatles retrospective, if you missed it, our music episode was jam-packed.
That got some attention, the music. A few people mentioned that to me, the music.
I can't wait.
You're specifically related to your musical tastes.
Oh, if you missed it, check out that episode. David Bowie.
You were talking about Rocco and the Boys.
Yeah, Rocco and the Beaters. Rocco and the Beastie Boys. So
Rocco and the Beaters.
we dive deep into music history last episode, so check that out. But we did not get into the whole reason why we even started talking about that. We were talking about ABBA. They've been putting on a virtual show. Now, we got sidetracked in the conversation because I wanted to bring this up. But when we talked about, is there a market for virtual performers? Now, to be fair, ABBA, I mean, to your point, they've been around for a long time. They've been performing. Well, they've been playing their virtual show for years. Do you know any of this?
What is this?
You don't know any of this?
Tell me.
ABBA has. They've played a.
You think I'm a massive ABBA fan because I'm European? That's.
Well, I mean, here's the thing.
That's what transpired last week.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. No, I'm not an ABBA fan, but I'm aware that they had a virtual show. They had a virtual show for the last 2-3 years. And
How do you not know who the Beatles are, but you know that ABBA have a virtual show?
I don't know. Maybe, to be honest, it might have been on my AI because I'm in the AI world now. All this AI research. I'm kind of surprised that you didn't know. But anyway, for those listening, ABBA has a virtual show, and they did CGI. The band. So this is the difference, because I'm not going to call it AI because that might be unfair. every year they're selling 1 million tickets. They sold 1 million tickets last year. It was building off of 2023. There's still demand. I don't know, Rían. I know that you're not a big Abba fan, but apparently there are some Abba fans out there. They're showing
I don't dislike Abba. I think they're good.
I mean, to be fair, I never heard a song, but either way, I trust it. Anyway, my point is Abba performed with motion capture, and they recreated them performing, I don't know, 30-some years ago in their prime. You go there, and these audiences love it. They sold 1 million tickets. Now, my point is that's not AI. And that being said, I am very curious because if I went to that concert, at that point, I'm not sure exactly what the difference is. Do you know what I mean? You could use AI to create those. I don't want to call it a hologram because it's not a hologram, but it's from the naked eye. It sounds like a hologram concert that everyone loved. So in the future, in 4 years, if you have Tupac, Prince, and all these people doing those concerts, why would I? Like, how would I measure one versus the other?
Well, here's a key difference.
Yeah.
The way you've described it, it sounds like ABBA, the band, did performance capture with, and then they essentially just de-aged them and they did this performance, right? That's kind of what it sounds like. Yeah. So that is the band. It's basically like ABBA wearing heavy makeup, you know what I mean? Doing a performance. Now, I don't know if they sang the whole thing or if they generated it, digitally, but that's very different than an AI rendering of these people. Also, if you're talking about Tupac and people like that, Prince, they're not going to do performance capture. You know what I mean? Then it would be an entirely digital performance. Or
no, I mean that's fair.
A recording of a previous performance and projected.
Okay. So no, that's fair, and this is all rhetorical. So Michael Caine going into the VO booth. So that you're saying that's a line kind of crossed, maybe if he's not doing the original voice, and then they're kind of generating more stories from his voice. Is that a line crossed for you?
I don't know if it's a line crossed, but it's the implications. I think it's a very different type of a thing. Okay. There's one thing between ABBA doing a performance, that's going to be where their appearance will be slightly altered and they'll be projected digitally or whatever. Then Michael Caine going, here's my voice. Whatever you do with it is up to you. That's a very different thing because it's artificially generated. He could be talking about selling crackers, or he could be, giving a speech, or they could stick him in a movie. Whatever that is, that's a very different thing, I think, to like a performance capture of a band whose job is to sing, and there they are singing their songs.
Okay.
And they were involved in the creation of that. I don't think it's because one is AI and one is not AI, basically.
Okay. That's fair. I do think that they're very similar to kind of like your point where, hey, Michael Caine's pretty old, so yeah, I mean, lock it down. I mean, in a lot of similar ways, ABBA is very forward thinking, saying, hey, we can leave on this legacy, and our fans can enjoy it as they're much older now. So I see a lot of similarities, but yeah, that's fair. This is the divide. If you're not Michael Caine, and if you're not signed by CAA, it's going to be a little more of a knife fight trying to protect property and likeness for us. So I think these are all just kind of shades of the same problem. You know what I mean?
In some ways, yeah. I think just for actors, like the protections that we have at the moment really only come from the union and, in our case, California law. Outside of that, for non-union actors and performers, there isn't a ton of protection.
Right.
They have to be very, very careful about what's contained in contracts, I think. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the takeaway from it for me. Yeah. And I don't know how far reaching even the union protections go. I think they could be stronger.
So this is kind of, I don't know if you ever heard of this American film market. So we're going to talk just a little check-in on this Hollywood migration out to Nevada. Nevada was essentially a migration the past couple years. Studios are trying to be built out there, and they were kind of calling it Hollywood 2.0. Obviously, it's close enough to California, similar enough weather. It makes all the sense in the world. So let's just check in how that's going. First off, if people didn't know, Mark Wahlberg moved out there, his entire compound, all of his team, and then also trying to build a studio. We haven't seen anything going on with that yet. But more recently, the American film market is happening right now back in L.A. I didn't realize.
Yeah, it's usually in Santa Monica.
Yeah, exactly. There you
But
go.
it's not this year. Yeah, this is the first year.
Yeah,
It
they
hasn't
moved to
been in a
Century
while.
City, right? They
Century
moved,
City,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. For anybody who doesn't know, this is where people go to sell movies. This is where people buy and sell movies.
So this is the premier destination event for studios, distributors. They mingle, they bid on the hottest new films. So when you see films coming out of Cannes, they go to this to sell their movie and get to sell rights for distributions. So I didn't realize that AFM actually was held in Vegas last year. So last year was the big experiment. Hey, Nevada, it's film and TV. It's the future. Let's bring that's kind of a big deal, the fact that AFM even left LA. I mean, let's be honest. That's not a great look. AFM moved to Vegas. I think their center location was the Palms Casino. Let's just say it did not go well. It was dead on arrival. Let's say, I mean, right off the bat, I'm just reading some of these comments. Long lines at the elevators, poor food options, lack of atmosphere. It was just not exactly the Hollywood, like, I don't know.
Why
it just
was
wasn't.
that? I mean, you think like Vegas is set up to handle conventions better than anywhere else.
It's true.
In
Just
the world,
sure, you
I
would think
imagine.
that.
But like,
You would think that.
Interesting.
It left a lot to be desired. I don't know. If you've been to the Palms, I'm like, yeah, this does not feel like the upper crust Hollywood. I don't know. It is kind of funny if you think about it. Anyway, so it did not go well. They said immediately, we're not coming back to Vegas. So they came to L.A.
Poor Vegas.
Yeah, I know. A more familiar ground, more familiar territory. The last thing I will say about Nevada, and here's the thing, AFM is literally going on right now. We'll see. This is literally the pulse of the independent film market. Obviously, one of the bigger titles is Passion of the Christ. I don't even know. Is it Passion of the Christ 2? Whatever that sequel is. Mel Gibson is doing...
I didn't know there was...
Oh, Mel Gibson. Oh, this is the other interesting bit.
This.
Mel Gibson is literally shopping his next Jesus movie, and he's not letting them read the script. He's not letting them read the script, which I want to say is kind of rare. But that's happening right now, and we'll see. We'll see. This is the lifeblood of our film market, and they're back in LA. They're back in Century City this year. So we'll see how that goes.
Wow.
Yeah.
We should do that. We should go to it next year and just sell a movie that we don't have a script for, and just be like, yeah, it's like Die Hard but at a Denny's. And just can we say, nope, can't see the script. And then we'll just write the script if they buy it. Easy.
I think I have seen many people imprisoned for just that. But that is a fun idea.
It's like people who pitch a show but they haven't written the end yet.
Like
they don't
Lost.
know where it's going.
Just like Lost.
Yeah. That was the one I was thinking of.
Yeah,
was Lost.
I know. The last thing I will say about the Nevada film Hollywood migration. Now, for those paying attention, because I have been paying attention, I know a lot of people who actually moved to Nevada from California. They weren't in the industry, but they were very bullish on the future. To be fair, Nevada is fighting for an increased film TV tax credit. So they had a whopping film TV tax credit that they've been trying to pass for the past couple years that would go to, say, building studios. They just passed to the next level. Now, whether it gets passed, there is a lot of opposition. People were saying that thing wasn't even going to get this far. Not returning.
It's closer than Atlanta.
I agree. All right, well, there you go. That's your Nevada film TV pulse, everyone. We'll keep an eye on that. The migration out.
Tune in next week.
See how Mark Wahlberg is doing out there with all of his burger franchises. So moving on. TheAnkler.com, there's a blog. You know, there have been a handful, but they did a decent article about this. They just kind of looked at the numbers. Women filmmakers for this year, this might not be a shock, but I think it's just depending on how much it has declined. Women filmmakers for 2025 are drastically down. Now, how you gauge this, I'll try to make it straightforward. in 2025, they kind of compiled the top 100 films by box office. So most studio movies, some independent specific movies would make it in there. But let's just say the top 100 films, and you go back the past 6-7 years. That's pre-pandemic. That's going back to, Me Too. Obviously, the Me Too movement obviously is a good benchmark. Then, you also have George Floyd in 2020. So just keep in mind that these are waves and trends that we have seen in Hollywood for the type of TV and film that has been produced. Anyway, these are specifically looking at women filmmakers. Out of the top 100, we have four films. One is a co-directed film, so that is technically 3 that was a director, 1 was co-directed. And to be fair, we're not done with 2025, so there's a couple more that might squeak in there. Okay, so the year before in 2024, we have 13. We have more in 2023, 14. So there's a million factors why this might be.
I mean, one possible reason it mentions in this is executives. There aren't enough female executives, and
or
that
less
would give rise to more female directors being given a chance. I just don't think people are being given a shot, and I think the more fearful the industry is, the less people are being given a shot. You see it with actors too. You see it even in terms of newer actors or less experienced actors being given a shot. Maybe this is a poor parallel, but series regulars are taking guest star jobs, and everything is kind of moving down, and to get those roles now, you have to have significant credits. I think there is, to some degree, when everybody's running scared and nobody knows how to make money, there's a retreat back to, we know what works. It's male directors or people run to what they know, which has been a very sort of unfairly skewed arena where traditionally it's white men have been in charge of this whole thing. And I don't know.
That's a great point.
This is all speculation on my part as well, but it feels like people are not being given a chance, I would say.
That's a great point, because the ones with more experience would naturally be the white male director. On that note, this is anecdotal, but this is a video that was circulating on Cruise Stories. A producer that was working for CBS TV put on his social media he got laid off. And long story short, he confronted his boss because he thought it was a department-wide layoff. What happened, in fact, was he realized the ethnic people got laid off. He was black. He looked around. He asked all of his white coworkers, and for whatever reason, they weren't laid off. Now, I'll put a link into that video, but it does say, whether it's a coincidence or not, but it brings up a lot of these deeper issues that maybe we see happening more often with these massive layoffs. That was CBS. We know that Paramount laid off 1,600 people. If you're in any of these other industries and you heard any of these things, email us at actorsguidepodcast@gmail.com. Hit us up on social media. I'm just wondering how widespread this might be. The caption was, is CBS doing racial layoffs? So moving on. So they did a follow-up. So now let's look at the non-white directors. Basically, there's a retreat, a backslide to white male directors overall. So let's just look at the numbers. They did similar numbers for directors from marginalized or diverse communities. And to be fair, this was not nearly as big a drop. It was a peak in 2023, kind of a cutback 2024. I mean, numbers are similar to 2025. In 2025 as 2024. And then also we have the new Wicked movie, which is directed by John Chu. So we have a couple numbers that are going to be boosting up that. The one takeaway that they had was, out of all of them, there was 3 black directors. 3 black directors this entire year. So a lot of people can talk about the huge success that Sinners was, and that might overshadow the fact that there are only 3 black directors in all the top 100 films this year, and Latino filmmakers won. So, these are just numbers, but I think you're onto it as far as what this might be about, because there is a lot of fear to go around. There is a lot of, needless to say, there's a lot of layoffs. There's a lot of contraction. Now, this whole idea as far as new blood, we know that CEOs are, the people making decisions are mostly white. We have talked about, in recent months, DEI programs, diversity, equity and inclusion programs. They're coming to an end, or they're kind of being paused. If you look at the numbers for new WGA, new DGA, all those applicants are diverse and ethnic. And so it's just interesting how a lot of our new blood is diverse.
Yeah, and I think it kind of speaks to a wider issue in the industry, is that like it's not sustainable for a lot of people now, because it's so risk averse, and because people are running to the walls and nobody seems to want to take a risk. I don't know. I think that goes two ways. One of two ways. It retreats back to big studio movies and mergers and sort of monopolies and making a lot of the same type of movies, or there's a massive uptick in independent movies. But I think no matter what, because just anecdotally, like I know a number of female filmmakers who are brilliant and are producing their own work, or writing their own work, or directing their own work. I've worked with a few female directors that are phenomenal, but I do see around me more people making their own work, more people writing their own work, directing their own work, producing their own work, because it's easier now than it's ever been to do that, in terms of the access we have to the technology to do it and the resources. But a lot of them are female, and them, some of those women too, that are just, writing and producing their own work. So I have to feel that down the line, that's going to have an effect.
Now, on a brighter note, I don't want to forget this. When we talk about the current landscape and this is what the industry is looking like, we do have a bright spot here. Paramount just announced, despite their 1,600 layoffs, they're going to commit a $1.5 billion towards making new content. That very well could be a PR statement to make its layoffs sound better, but that is promising. That's great for us actors, great for writers. Let's see if they make good on that promise. $1.5 billion on new content. And Disney announced that they're going to commit an extra $1 billion for next year. So this year was $23 billion. Next year is going to be $24 billion. So these are promising things. The question is what is the type of content that they're going to make? Whether there's trends that are happening or kind of waning, I think there's a lot of, I'm looking at the bright side of a lot of this. This is not a friendly environment to enter, whether you're an actor, writer, up and coming, you're not established like Michael Caine and Morgan Freeman, and what have you. To know what the marketplace looks like, this, in a way, this is what the chessboard looks like. I think this is actually a fair depiction. We know that there is massive contractions happening. The market might not favor women-directed projects. It might not favor diverse. A little side note. Because of the cancellations of TV shows next year, possibly half of LGBT TV characters that are on TV right now will be gone from the TV, just because of TV shows being canceled. Projected cancellations next year. So just throw that in there just to paint the picture. My point is
characters. You're talking about characters in shows.
Yeah. Characters that are currently on TV that are going to be gone because those shows are planned to be canceled or ending.
Okay.
So this is kind of where entertainment might be where it might be going for the next couple of years. Now, the way I look at it is, if you don't have the benefit of the trends of, hey, we want women-driven films, we want diverse voices. We knew that was a huge push in 2023 and so on, right? My venture is, hey, this industry is really hard as it is. If you really want to tell that story, those people who are telling those stories really believe in it. It's not going to be a quick cash payout. And I'm not saying a lot of those people were, but this is kind of like getting into my bigger point is, if you really believe in a story, you really believe in it, push it regardless of the trends of the marketplace, because you're never going to be able to time that. And those people who are really pushing a black forward story or a woman-driven story, bold, passionate filmmakers make it anyway. People who are really going to push stories that they really believe in, those are the ones who are going to do it. And I think that's a great lesson for any of us. I think it's a great lesson if you're going to push a podcast when everyone tells you that, hey, podcasts are oversaturated. If you're starting a YouTube channel.
Your voice is too annoying.
Yeah, exactly.
Keep it down, man.
Rían.
Do I have to hear you again?
The other point is this is what the marketplace is, and your vote is going to be with your dollar. If you want to push more diverse films and TV shows and so on and so forth, they're going to need your support because they're going to get canned in 5 seconds if they don't have good numbers. I will add the little cherry on top. Rough percentage. YouTube, top 60 to 65 top earners, roughly, are ethnic, non-white creators.
Okay.
This is and if you have a problem with it, create something and change it. Because if this is what our Hollywood landscape looks like for the next couple of years, this is where the trend is going. And I'll be sparse. If anyone's not following Chad Sanders on social media, now I'm going to hold back my admiration for Chad Sanders. Chad Sanders is this guy. He was in Hollywood. He used to work for YouTube and Google and so on. He was and he's also black, which plays into his story. He's a guy who kind of danced in the tech and also Hollywood world, and now is kind of solely building his brand, telling his stories, and a lot of Hollywood people can't handle what he has to say. He brought up a great point. When we talk about, because this also ties into AI, a lot of people have been talking about the AI bubble. If you're outside looking in, you're wondering, am I going to miss out on this money? On the rise up, when everyone is trying to get a piece of this pie, you could make a lot of money. And if you're the last one to join the party, you're going to lose. So everyone's kind of jumping on this trend. Kevin Hart, you have actors, writers, you have Aronofsky opening up an AI studio. So there's across the board this AI bubble. Anyway, he did a great video saying that there's also the black art bubble. Chad admitted, he goes, I sold a TV show. I was in this realm of rubbing elbows with the top creators and talent of black creators in media. And then it's gone. Nothing to be said of it. I'm back to, hustling, figuring out what I'm supposed to do with my life. And only years later is he coming to this, new pivot that he's doing. But my point is I was like, oh, I never heard of black art considered a bubble. And I'm like, that's crazy. And he admits it's unfortunate. And then what if the women filmmaker, what if that was a bubble too? And so this is just a interesting look at, I don't see why that's not true. That bubble might have popped. And right now it's getting back to possibly where it was 5-6 years ago. And the question is what are you going to do about that?
Yeah, I agree. But I think what it comes back to, and this keeps coming back around in a lot of conversations lately that I've been having with actors and people, is like more and more and more and more. You just have to make your own stuff, no matter who you are. It seems I'm seeing it with actors too, and I'm seeing it really work for actors. Like a number of our friends have really leaned into making their own stuff, and it's getting them attention. They're getting sort of creatively fulfilled. One of the guys in that I'm in class with at Leslie Kahn, he did a 48-hour film festival thing where you make a movie in 48 hours, and he won Best Actor,
oh wow,
Best Writer. It won Best Film, runner-up Best Director, and he did it all himself, basically. It was him and not all himself. I mean, obviously there was a load of people dived in and made the film together, but he wrote this thing and he really pushed through it. And this is a guy that has really leaned into making his own work because he's not getting the opportunities that he wants to get. So he's started to he kind of surrendered to the fact that like he's just going to make his own stuff, and it's really working for him, and he's enjoying it. And the more he does it, the more he really finds that he does love this aspect of it. So I think I think that's for all of us. And it doesn't have to be on a big scale. It doesn't have to be expensive. It can be just, whatever it is, social media videos. Brian Stepanek talks about it and has talked about it. There's a bunch of actors I know who are brilliant actors that are just now making their own work because they're not getting the opportunities that they want and need. So they're creating them for themselves. And I think the ripple effect of that is huge. It's like we've talked about it before, but like the Duplass brothers talking about the cavalry's not coming. You are the cavalry. Just make the film.
Completely agree.
I think that's more and more the way it just has to be. You can't just kind of sit back and rely on your reps to just get you the best auditions. For a lot of people. Are me and Kahn going to go to AFM and sell an imaginary movie? We'll see. Let's do Hidden Gems.
Let's do it.
So, I have a good hidden gem.
Well, actually, wait. Yours is good. Mine's kind of like, Should I start first?
I don't mind.
Or it doesn't
Whatever
matter. So, I can't wait to hear Rían's hidden gem because he says this is a good one, everyone. So just buckle your seatbelts. But mine.
You fucking prick.
I know. Now you're
way to oversell mine and make it look not as good.
Yeah. Build up Rían's, everyone. Get ready.
Yeah.
Anyway, mine's
All
just
right,
okay, but I thought it was very useful.
This is a common sales tactic.
So I came across this blog and I had no idea. For most iPhones, the way that people steal iPhones is they can grab your phone and they could swipe down from the top and flip on airplane mode. And essentially anyone, regardless if you have the password or not, can access the airplane mode through their control menu. And so what's happening is when people try to steal an iPhone, they swipe down the airplane mode. No one can track it. You can't do the Find My iPhone because it doesn't track with the internet. And they run off with it, and then they try to break into it later on. So it's an easy access to turn off the internet where the owner can't track it. Anyway, so this is super geeky, but I did think it was actually pretty useful. I'm gonna briefly describe it, but I'm gonna put the description, the instructions in the description, just so you can kind of go through it. And there's even a little video. But basically, if you go down to settings, if you go into the settings, and then there's a section called Allow Access When Locked. You go into the control center, and then you can switch off airplane mode and not allow that to be accessed when it's locked. So you don't want it to be accessible when it's locked, and that's it. You could flip it. It turns gray.
This is really good.
Yeah.
Talk me through. So it's general, and then
go to Face ID and passcode. Scroll down to Allow Access When Locked section, and then click off Control Center. So you want Control Center to be gray.
Okay.
There you go, everyone.
All right, that's good. That's good. Little security.
Yeah. A little tech.
A little gem.
Tech tip from your guys at Actors Guide to the End of the World podcast.
Just keeping you safe. And if you're an Android user, fuck you. Up next, Rían's hidden gem.
Yeah, all right. Let's hear it.
Which is, okay, so the reason I am aware of this is I went to a screening of a movie that I am in, which was made a number of years ago, 2017 to be exact, in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, a movie called Love and Irony, which is just about to be released on streaming.
Oh.
Yeah, it's taken a while for this movie to come out. But where they screened it here in LA was at the Petite Hermitage Hotel in West Hollywood, where they do this thing every Monday, and it's called Petite Salons, and it's a collaboration between the Petite Hermitage Hotel, a company called Cheshire Moon Productions, and Blackbird Films. And what they do is every Monday, I think at 7 p.m. on the rooftop of this hotel, which is a gorgeous little hotel with a pretty wild side, I believe. Someone was telling me it's pretty famous for kind of wild parties. But they've a really nice rooftop with a pool. So at night they put up like a projector screen, and they screen different independent films, and they also do I think they do music some weeks, and you can sit down, you can get a drink, you can order food, and you sit down on couches and you can listen to live music or watch the film. before you... Sorry, yeah, it's films. They do have... I think they have live music up on the pool deck, and then you go to the fire deck where there's a fire pit and you go and watch these movies. And then usually afterwards there's a Q&A with the filmmakers. So every Monday for... I think it's pretty cheap to go. You can get tickets for this and you can just go see an independent movie that they're screening. You can chat to the filmmakers. You get to sort of build a community and... yeah, it's great. It's a really lovely setting. It's a really nice setting. They've like heat lamps up and couches and you can sit around and watch different movies and chat to people afterwards. So I just thought I wouldn't have known except for this film. You know, we went to see this film last Monday and a bunch of the cast met up. So it was a great reunion for us, but it was also like a really cool setting to see how they do this. And I met some of the organizers and that, and they're like, yeah, come back. We do this every Monday. So
That's awesome.
there you go. Petite Salons at the Petite Hermitage Hotel in West Hollywood. If you're in LA and you're in the entertainment industry, if you're in the business, if you're an actor, if you're a filmmaker, it's a great place to just kind of hang out, see films and meet people in a lovely setting.
There you go. Look at that. Episode, everyone. Hope you enjoyed it and see you next time.
See you next time.